Ooh. All right, all right. All right. Shalom, shalom. I'd like to start off by saying, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Kol Haloim La Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Bachak Wadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone and the like-minded brothers. Blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect that's scattered abroad, the Akim and the Akwat that's listening in. Yahweh Ratazah, Lord willing that the lesson is edifying. It's the brother Shawab Mwam back at you with another lesson. And, you know, a little breakfast oil, just some news and prophecy, all right, for 2026, all right, remembering that 2026 is going to be a year of this NWO, all right, and technology, all right, but like I said, it's just a little breakfast oil, all right, of going into some news and prophecy, all right, and as always, you know, after these holidays, you know, there's always a lot of shit that goes on the news, all right, which I was kind of like trying to see what I could find on Newsbreak. All right, I do got a couple of news articles. I ain't gonna read too much in them. I'm just pretty much gonna go just kind of quoting what's going on. All right, but there's always judgment after these holidays. All right, and a lot of fires were brought out. All right, in that time last night. All right, but this is Newsbreak. All right, you got one right here that says caught on camera, car flips and crashes into backyard as driver lands in the pool. All right, which let me see if they have the actual video. All right, you do it.
This is the damage left behind after police say a suspected drunk driver blew through this wall. Car went airborne and hit the roof of this pool house. Car then landed on the ground. The driver found herself in the pool, and it was all caught on camera. Let's replay that. Homeowner Cletus Reed heard the commotion and came outside.
Are you okay? It sounded like a freight train. So I go outside. I figure maybe something happened in the street, and I come to see my entire backyard destroyed.
Backyard destroyed, and Cletus in disbelief.
I mean, everything was just blown up. I mean, the patio is literally on the ground. There's a lady floating in my pool.
And he needed to get that lady out of his pool.
She landed right about there in the shallow end. The shallow end's only this deep.
Okay.
And there's block walls in it. She landed on top of it. If she was 4 feet this way or 2 feet that way, she would concrete, and you know the result of that. So she was blessed, and I'm blessed.
Cletus tells me he was just about to go into his hot tub, which was right
That's
next
crazy. I ain't even got to play no more. All right, because I ain't going to be here all day. All right, but she obviously didn't pass away. It was the Lord had mercy on her. All right, but see, the Lord showing you that he can end your life in a matter of minutes, man. You could be here today, all right, and gone tomorrow. All right, as a matter of fact, let me grab this precept. All right, this is Proverbs, I believe it's the 27th chapter. Proverbs 27:1. It said, yep, warnings and instructions. It says, boast not thyself of tomorrow, for thou knowest not what a day may bring forth. You see? So, you know, at the end of the day, man, this is why you can't make no tarrying to turn to the Lord. All right. Because sudden destruction could come upon you at any moment. All right. And, you know, people tend to, you know, boast themselves of tomorrow. All right. As if they know what the next day is going to bring forth to them, man. You can be here today and gone tomorrow through the spirit and be in the spirit world, man. All right. So this is why you have to make no tarrying to turn to the Lord. Okay. Let's grab see what else is on the news. All right. It says 15-year-old boy walked up to cops after shooting 13-year-old girl on this is for Christmas Day though. All right, but still, regardless, you know, this was in the week, within the week. Okay. So this was on Christmas Day. Okay. 9 hours ago, around 40 people dead and at least 100 injured after horror New Year's Eve explosion at a packed ski resort. All right. You see? And it's crazy. That's the spirit too, because I was saying that last night on the highways and hedges, man, that a lot of usually on New Year's Eve is always a lot of fires. You know, a lot of houses get burnt up, a lot of clubs get burnt up. See, showing you that the mirth of the land is gone. See, showing you that the Lord is tired of all these damn celebrations, man. So the Lord be having them death angels, man, walking up in there and you know, get busy. You know, tearing shit down, lighting shit on fire. You know, remember, man, these demons be trying to figure out ways to destroy people. You know, they be out there straight casting lots, how they going to destroy and kill a bunch of people at once. All right. And those be spirits that are created for vengeance. Okay, let's grab that real quick. This is Ecclesiasticus 39. And my throat is all fucking beat up right now. It hurts from last night. All right, but this is Ecclesiasticus 39 and 28. And it says, there be spirits that are created for vengeance, which in their fury lay on sore strokes. And in the time of destruction, they pour out their force and appease the wrath of him that made them. All right. And they appease the wrath of him that made them, meaning that they can't wait to take the orders from Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. Because Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai is the creator of all things, man, even these demons. All right. So even the demons tremble when the Lord gives the order, you see. So it says fire and hell and famine and death. All these were created for vengeance. All right. So when you see these things happen, all right, these are spirits these are demons that are created for vengeance. All right. Because the Lord brings vengeance upon these people, man. Okay. Teeth of wild beasts, scorpions, serpents, and the sword, punishing the wicked to destruction. Okay. So going back to it, right, it says around 40 people and at least 100 injured after horror New Year's Eve explosion at a packed ski resort. And it was at a bar, because I was reading the article earlier. You know, it was at a straight bar, you know, and you can only imagine everybody just watching this ball drop, you know, celebrating. And all of a sudden, a damn fire breaks out. 40 people dead, just like that. See, the Lord bringing people down in massive numbers, man. You see, it ain't like back in the day. You would hear on the news, you would hear about just 1 or 2 people dying, you know, for the day. Nah, man, the Lord is bringing death upon this place on a high scale, man. And it's going to get worse and worse. It's going to get even, you know, it's going to get more horrific out here. Okay, especially, you know, that we just entered into a new year. Okay, so more judgments are going to be brought out. You know, the love of many are going to wax colder and colder. You see, so, you know, a lot more sin is going to be done. Okay, so a lot more judgments are going to be brought upon this place, man, because this earth, all right, the wickedness of this place keeps waxing worse and worse. All right. It says 23-year-old. This is another post. All right. 23-year-old drug queenpin who offered up victims' hearts to Mexican death. God gets half. What's to say? Gets half. Go into it real quick. Gets half a century behind bars, man. You see. So the Lord was using her, right, to bring judgment upon a bunch of Issacharites, man. You know, you end up doing wickedness. The Lord might put you, you know, in the hands of her, you know, to destroy you. And ultimately, it's of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, because the scriptures tell you, man, it's a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the living power. All right. Also tells you in Psalms the 68th chapter that unto the Lord Yahweh Shai belong the issues of death. Okay. What else do I see here? Look at this. This was on Christmas. It says, man, great and terrifying Christmas attack as officers issue witness plea. You know, this was 3 days ago. All right. We got another one in damn, this was in my hometown, 20 minutes from where I live now. Panic in Lakewood Township tire shop. Employee reportedly turns on boss in cold blood. Okay. And my town's been going crazy, man. In my town, they don't even have people like that anymore because it ain't nothing but damn little hatters up in there. All right. But the ones that are still left, they turned up right now. Okay. This is another one 3 days ago. All right. Christmas brunch turns tragic after mom allegedly shoots son over disrespect. You see? Because iniquity abound, the love of many is waxing worse and cold, man. All right. Let me see. I'm just seeing what they got up in here because I got different ones too. This was a day ago. Woman who died after heroin overdose says she went straight to hell and learned truth. How the hell? How the hell did she even say that? Right? If she died, that's wild. It says woman who died after heroin overdose says she went straight to hell and learned truth. All right, which is no such thing as hell. Hell is what we live in right now, man. All right. All right, let's get out of this little thing. Let me jump into real quick. Let me see the Lakewood Scoop. All right, the Lakewood Scoop be having some bullshit. All right, the Lakewood Scoop. Give me 1 second. It's coming in right now. Look at that. As a matter of fact, Lakewood Scoop says Ocean County flash fire leaves 7 juveniles with burn injuries. You see? The Lord said what, man? I wound and I heal. Okay, so the Lord, all right, wounded these juveniles, man, leaving 7 of them wounded with burn injuries. Okay. You have another one here that says fire rips through township. This was yesterday. Fire rips through Brick Township home. All right, which Bricktown is probably about 5 minutes away from Lakewood. All right, so you had this fire yesterday that left 7 juveniles burnt injuries. This was on January 1st. Okay, so that means that was yesterday. Okay, yesterday fire rips through the Brick Township home. Okay, showing you that, like we just read, fire, hell, famine, death. These are all created for vengeance from Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. All right. Let's grab let me see. I think I loaded something up on my messages. Okay, you have this is yesterday in New York City, woman stabbed by neighbor enraged over dog as attacker's boyfriend held her down in elevator. You see? So another woman, all right, being stabbed. All right, a lot of you women is catching a lot of judgment, all right, from Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. And this nigga's eyes look crazy too. Let me see. Look at this damn, you see the demon's eyes in there, man. All right. So he ended up stabbing a woman, all right, over a dog. Okay, you got oh, that was in that new the one that was a fire, which this one I don't know if it's the same one because this one's in London. Says several dozen dead in a fire at a bar in Switzerland on New Year's Day. Yep. You see, this was in London. Okay, see a lot of fires, man, in these on these days like New Year's Eve, Christmas. Okay, this is a Texas teen, right? Camila Mendoza, Texas teen missing since Christmas Eve, believed to be in imminent danger. All right, so we have another, teen that's missing, and most likely when you hear about those, man, those don't come up good. Pretty much gonna be found in the woods or some shit buried. Okay. We got some news on experts warn that internet could crash hard and you'd better be ready. This is what's coming for 2026, man. See, the internet about to crash. They're about to cut the lights off in this place, man. All right. Right. You got a multi-car crashes around my way. Multi-car crash on Garden State Parkway leaves 22-year-old driver dead. Matter of fact, there was a lot of drunk drivers. I forgot what article I seen it this morning. All right, a lot of drinking and driving. All right, on New Year's Eve. So a lot of car accidents. All right, a lot of people die from car accidents on days like that, and that's all judgment of the Lord also. Okay. Let me go into Instagram. I know I saved a couple things in there. All right, going into news and prophecy. This is end time headline news. It says the US dollar is on the course for the largest drop in almost a decade. All right. So we know that the dollar is about to crash, It says 2025 is closing with one of the most seismic shifts in the world financial system is nearly a decade. The US dollar is plummeting, on track for its biggest annual slide in years as traders grow wary, all right, of interest rate cuts, geopolitical uncertainty, and fiscal instability. All right, this reveals a dramatic reordering of global currency powering, and many are wondering if the era of the dollar dominance is ending. All right, and absolutely, man, all this is about to collapse. America's about to collapse itself. You see, and in order for America to collapse, man, the dollar has to collapse. All right, because this is how they're going to bring in this NWO. You see. See, the dollar bill is part of the old world order, man, and they're bringing in this new. All right. So in order for them to do that, they have to collapse the dollar. Okay. In order for them to bring their reset, right, this wicked ass reset that these devils want to do, they have to cut off the lights here. They have to cut off the internet. You see, to bring chaos upon the people. Right. Matter of fact, let's grab this precept as I brought that out. This is Ezekiel 7. Ezekiel 7 and 19. It says, they shall cast their silver in the streets, and their gold shall be removed. Their silver and their gold shall not be able to deliver them in the day of the wrath of the Lord Yahweh. They shall not satisfy their souls, neither fill their bowels, because it is a stumbling block of their iniquity. All right. So let's grab it on the NLT. It says they will throw their money in the streets, tossing it out like worthless trash. Their silver and gold won't save them on the day of the Lord's anger. It will neither satisfy nor feed them, for their greed can only trip them up. Yeah. You see, it's a stumbling block because here it is. A lot of people have worshiped money, man. All right. But see, money's going to be done away with. And the only thing that's going to, have a little bit of value when that money drops is going to be gold and silver, but eventually silver and gold is going to be taken away. All right. And riches profit not in the day of wrath. You see, when the Lord comes to destroy this place, none of that shit going to matter. You're not going to be able to pull out a check on the Lord. You're not going to be able to pull out some shekels for the Lord, you know, gold and silver, and tell them, listen, I got this amount of money, man. This is why we're putting spiritual money in our bank account by doing the work of the Lord. So when that judgment comes, all right, we have something to lean back off of, you see. So let's go. What else we got here? It says, New Yorkers bid farewell to the Metro card. You know, a lot of people going crazy for that. All right, because this is how they were being. This Metro card is how they were able to, you know, take the train, take the buses, you know, be able to get from one place to another. And why are they taking away this Metro card? Why? Because they're going to bring in a new system. Okay, everything is about to be digitalized. Everything's about to be NWO technology. You see, so they have to get rid of these old infrastructures, man. They have to get rid of all these structures that they had, these systems, and bring in these new systems. Okay.
The body was done very well.
Look at this shit. The fact that people fucking sad as hell. All right. They got a fucking cake with Metro cards on it. Like, see, this is how bugged out our people is, man. This is why scriptures say folly set in great dignity, man. It's just a fucking Metro card. But they sad as hell over here. You see? Look at this shit. All right. So that's the sign, all right, of this digital system being set in place. All right. Because now you're going to have to scan yourself, you know, to be able to go, you know, somewhere, you know, to take this train, to take a bus. Okay. Take a cab, take a Uber, you know. This is last night, December 31st. You have Iran, Tehran, Iran, and Marlard, Iran is just straight wilding right now. Okay. The economy collapsed over there. See, this is what's coming to America, man. A great collapse. See, the Lord is collapsing all these countries internationally first, man, because America's going to be saved for that great big bang. You see, America's this Babylon the Great, right? So the Lord is saving the best for last. Okay.
There are large protests in Iran over the state of the country's economy, as NPR's Jackie Northam reports.
Iran has struggled under sanctions for more than a decade. The local currency, the rial, has plummeted. Inflation is running over 40%. And the government recently published a draft of the budget, which predicted that the real incomes of the middle class will fall by about half.
The protests in Iran are the largest there in years. I'm Dave Mattingly.
See, and that's heavy too, because see, that's showing you that they're about to bring in this RFID, man. They're about to bring this technology out, because the middle classes was warring, all right, because eventually there's gonna be no middle class anywhere. All right. The scriptures tell you that, man, right? In Revelations, the 13th chapter, right? It says he calls it all, both small and great, rich and poor. You see, by him saying rich and poor, by the Lord saying that, that's showing you that there's gonna be no middle class. Okay. Is either going to be you rich or you poor. Okay. And the rich is only going to be these elites. The rich is going to be these political governments, right, that rule. All right. They are going to be the only ones that are rich, while everybody else becomes poor. You see? So there's going to be more poor than the rich. All right. And the rich, they're always greedy, and they don't want nobody else to be rich with them, because then they wouldn't be considered as rich. If everybody's rich, then there's no such thing as rich. You see? But you know, this is a sign of showing you that that middle class is going to be taken out the way. Okay. And the reason why their economy is collapsing, why? Because you got Iran in the middle of war. Whenever countries go to war, their economies collapse. That's why we're about to collapse, because we're in the middle of war. So they're all tending to spend their money based on these wars. You see? So it can only mean bad news for their economy. It can only mean bad news for the residents, all right, and those that live in these countries, okay? Because we're in the middle of war, man. We're in a time of war. So being in the time of war, that causes collapses of governments, that causes collapses of empires, all right? Whatever you want to call it. Eventually, everything is going to collapse because we're in World War III, man, all right? And Iran, all right, is going to be, you know, one of the major, it's going to be a prophecy that Iran is in the war. They're joining the war. Russia being a guard onto Iran right now. All right. Iran wants to go to war with America, wants to go to war with Israel. See, this is all prophecy playing out through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, man. Okay. So that's coming to America also. Okay. Once this place collapses in America, all right, which you already see it happening, and you see that, you know, there's uproars of people on the earth, as the scriptures tell you, you know, standing up against their governments, against their princes, and shall not regard. All right, let's grab that real quick. All right, this is 2nd Ezra 15. Second Ezra 15 and this is 20. It says, behold, saith Yahweh, I will call together. All right, Salaki, my bad. 16. For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the curse of their actions shall stand in their power. You see? So you're seeing a lot of sedition among men, all right, in these countries, all right, standing up against their governments because they're not down with what's going on. You see, they realize that everything around them is collapsing. Okay, they realize that their freedoms is being taken away from them. Okay, because ultimately that's what this NWO is about. All right, they want a one world government, a one world religion, a one world everything. You see, so everybody's gonna feel the pain worldwide, globally, in these different countries, in these different economies. All right, because they realize that the governments, remember, all these governments together of these different countries, they sit down at the same table and they try to figure ways to bring down the economies and bring down their countries to be able to join them and heap them together into this new world system. All right, this system that's going to be combined as one. It's going to be a global system. Okay, no more, you know, all these different countries. All right, everybody's going to come together as one. That's the plan. Okay, so, you know, they're standing up against their kings. All right, see what else you got in here. You got it says no rap songs on Billboard. All right, for the first time since February 1990, there are no rap songs in the top 40 and the hot 100. All right, which, you know, that's just a little bit of that's a different type of news, but hey, it's news nevertheless. All right, why is these things happening? Because the daughters of music are being brought low, as the scriptures say, man, showing you that everything is fucking failing here. Okay, in America. Matter of fact, let me grab it because
we don't cry now. Y'all murdered everybody. Y'all got everybody hooked on them drugs. Y'all be glorifying. Y'all smashed everybody's old lady, and ain't nobody left. So ain't no rap songs on the Billboard shows. Guess what? That wasn't hip hop. That was hypocritical hop in the first place. Glorifying all the wrong messages. Industry putting money behind all the wrong people, and then we call them legends and heroes in our community. Man, stop. We need a whole cultural reset, and it's the perfect time. A shift is happening. People waking up. We don't want to be represented or misrepresented like that no more, man. The next wave of people that need to get pushed by the industry need to be having something to say. You heard me? The fans need to support people who have something significant to say and are still talented. That's all, man. Don't cry because of these outcomes. This whole thing was fake in the first place.
You ain't got to talk no more on that, right? Let's just bring the scripture out. This is Ecclesiastes 12, all right? And All right, 3, and I'll bring this out through the spirit, you know, starting from 3, because that's another thing that's being spoken of on the news, man, that jobs are at an all-time high of being lost. All right, because what's about to be brought out, man, all this AI, all this new technology, all these robotic as systems that are taking away jobs from our people, man. Okay, and that's another reason why this place is going to collapse. All right, it says, in the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease, because they are few, and those that look out of the windows be darkened, and the doors shall be shut in the streets when the sound of the grinding is low, and he shall rise up at the voice of the bird. You see, so you know, opportunities, life's opportunities are going to close, man. The sound of work is going to fade. You see, there's going to be no more jobs out here. Ain't going to be no more, you know, America's a noisy place, man, because so many jobs, so many different types of things are going on at once. You know, every day you wake up for work, you got construction, you know, construction sites being built, you know, so you hear a lot of noise all the time. But see, there's going to be a time when all that is going to be taken away. Okay. So, you know, the voice of the bird, you know, you're going to hear that in the mornings, man. It's going to be quiet, you know, as it continues to say, the locust, all right, shall be the locust and the grasshopper shall be a burden unto you, man. Okay, even the smallest things is going to be a burden, because why? People going to be on edge, you know. There's nothing to keep people's minds busy. Okay. Right. So it says, and all the daughters of music shall be brought low. Yeah, because you know, this is a place of, you know, people glorify music out here. You see, which the daughters of music been brought low ever since, you know, this whole Diddy shit happened, you know, a fucking year back. Okay. Once Diddy and all this extra shit, these this Hollywood celebrity status with all these artists that do music was being exposed, that's when you already started to see the daughters of music being brought low. You know, music ain't the same. Everything is a satanic ritual. Music ain't music where it gives you a good, you know, which it never did give you good advice, but at least at one point, the music back in the day, you know, had a certain meaning to it, man. You know, you can actually feel the music. You know, you could be in a bad mood and that music will bring you out of a bad mood, you know. But now music just completely is used against you. It's weaponized against you to make you do evil, you know, to make you sin. You know, like the guy was saying, everything was about, you know, satanic rituals and sleeping with, committing adultery and, you know, all this crazy shit, man. You know, drug influence and, you know, influences on being gangs and, you know, shooting and killing people. That's exactly what this music is about. You know, there's nothing good about it. Nothing that gives a good message anymore. So the daughters of music have been brought low. All right. Through the spirit. All right. What else we got here? Let me grab another one. I'll pretty much close it up anyway. Like I said, just bringing out a couple little different things here and there. Okay, this is 2026, the year of the free world ends. All right, let's see what she got to say.
Stop them. We'll never have another chance.
This is what they've been distracting us from. Wait for the end for solutions.
We get less than 5 years to stop them. We'll never have another chance. They come right out and they tell us exactly what they're going to do. It's a one world government, one world cashless currency, one world central bank, one world military, social credit scores that the government can use to turn off your bank account. Vietnam just deleted 86 million bank accounts of people who refuse to get their digital ID.
And see, if you want to know what's going to happen in the future, man, all you got to do is look around, you know, China, you know, look around what's going on over there, man, because everything out there is already set in place. You know, they already have these systems set in place. All right, because China, all right, wants to be and desires to be just like America. So they're in a race, you know. They already have 6G out there. And here it is, America's now speaking about how they're about to release 6G. All right. You got the president speaking about 6G, which I'm working on a little video production right now. You know, trying to put something together, all right, with that whole conference that they had, you know, amongst a couple of high rollers. All right. They're about to bring out new technology, 6G advancements. All right. And it all goes back to being able to have this implantable device put into your body, and it's going to be connected exactly to that 6G. The 6G is way too much. That's already something that's frying our bodies, man. But see, they, in order for them to connect you to the system, all right, that's what 6G is really about. It's not about no Wi-Fi. It's about being able to connect you, all right, to their system. You are going to be the Wi-Fi, okay?
I wonder where that money went. If you're not paying attention, you probably don't know that England is putting people in prison for social media posts like memes and fucking
comments. Because why famine of the word is here, man. We're in a time where you got to be careful what you say. See, at the end of the day, we could care less, because the Lord said, who's going to stand up against the workers of iniquity? Who's going to stand up against the evildoers? And that's what we're doing. All right. And we believe that the Lord through the Spirit is going to protect us. All right. But still, we still have to be circumspect, right? Redeeming the times, because the days is evil. All right. We still have to be, you know, wise as serpents, as harmless as doves. So we have to be careful, because we're in what? Perilous times. All right. Dangerous times. What comes out of your mouth, all right, it could be the dangerous thing, all right, in a society where you end up getting prison time. You know, they don't want us preaching the word of YAHAWAH'S, YAHAWAH'S. So they'll come and tell you they don't want nobody preaching the Bible, when it's really for us. You see, you got to understand, they're not going to come out and say, all right, we don't want you to preach YAHAWAH'S, YAHAWAH'S. Yeah, they don't even want to mention that. Why? Because they don't want you to know that that's the truth. But see, what they'll do is they'll say nobody, all right, that's preaching the Bible could be preaching no more. Because if not, you'll get jail time. If you're a Christian, if you're Islamic, you know, which none of those are the truth. But see, they'll use those things to be able to get to the main cause, and that's getting the men of the Lord off the streets. Okay. So, you know, they'll tie all that shit back into us. Okay.
It's the trajectory that we're headed. Dude just got put in federal prison in England for saying that he didn't want his tax dollars prioritizing illegal immigrants instead of being used for the betterment of his own countrymen. Listen, if you don't start standing up and saying something like I am, this will be the end of national sovereignty. It will be the end of privately owned property. They're literally telling people in other countries that if you don't accept digital IDs, you're going to be excluded from society. That's what they're
doing. And at the end of the day, you know, forget what he's talking about. It's the end already, man. This is why we keep telling you, man, there's no hope for this place no more. Everything here is done for. These devils want total technocracy, total control of everything worldwide, of every single person, you know. So once you see that, man, it's a wrap for everything, man, because that's like beyond slavery, man, you know, where they done took away your freedom, you see. And that's what it's ultimately about, man, making you digital slaves, okay, where now they can tap into your mind, use your thoughts, all right, for more ideas, but continually use you to be a digital slave to their image. You see?
That means they won't allow you to board a train, to get on a plane, to go to work. They won't allow you to do the things that you would normally do if you don't accept their digital ID. I'm telling you that they won't allow you to pay your fucking mortgage without providing them a digital ID number. They'll take away your
home. And all of that shit is gradualism to lead you to one solution. Because that's what they're going to say. Once they bring out this digital ID, things is going to fly, man. All right. And eventually it's going to come. It's called order, ab, chaos, man. Problem, reaction, solution. It's about causing a problem. They know how the people are going to react, and then they're going to come with the solution. All right, well, you guys don't want this digital ID. Well, we could do this. We have this proposition for you, right? We'll give you this RFID, and it'll have everything on it, and we'll be able to control everything. You don't have to deal with this digital ID no more. You see? But the system and the agenda that they have still remains where they have total control of you. You see? This is why they're setting these laws. See, while people partying and having fucking fun, all right, and worrying about the wrong shit, all these laws, executive orders are being set underneath your noses, man, without you realizing. So then when the time comes and they tell you this is what it is, you're going to be like, when the hell did they put this into play? Well, nigga, while you was out there partying, that's when they was putting it into play. You know, that's why we're the watchmen. This is why we're constantly giving you the news over and over and over again, man, because we're the ones that's watching what's going on through the spirit. as the scriptures say, man. Make it plain upon the tables, right? I will watch what he will say to me. Okay, meaning what? Through prophecy, how the Lord is playing things out through the spirit, you know.
Compliance. They'll disallow or remove your children from school. This isn't a joke.
They don't want no more. That's another thing. They don't want no more schools. They want to dead all of that shit. You see, because they already done brainwashed the masses, man. And now because it's just like when they stopped letting kids go to the libraries and they just started giving them technology of iPads and shit and computers. Now everything is done through a computer and an iPad, and they just slap you in the face with it and say, here, get lost in that, you know. Well, now they want to take away your children's education, which their education was shitty anyway, all right, because the true education is of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. But now they're gonna take them things away, right? And then they're gonna leave your kids in the midst of you. Niggas can't even, bro. One thing I realized is that people can't stand to have their kids home from school, you know. So that shit's just gonna drive them nuts. You know, it's gonna drive a lot of these parents nuts dealing with their kids at home. You know, kids need to be, you know, active, because then they get bored, and then when you get bored, they get crazy in their thoughts, man. They're young, so they gotta, you know, they gotta explore shit, you know. But now that's just gonna leave them at home, and it's gonna drive people nuts. All right, more wickedness is gonna evolve from that, you know.
Remove your children from school. This isn't a joke. This is what's happening right now. We have less than 5 years to do something about it. If you don't recognize how serious this is, you're not paying attention. This is what they're doing. They won't allow you to register your cars. They'll turn you away from medical care. And they'll do all this while they're telling you you're being forced.
Medical warfare is a big thing that's about to be brought in 2026, man. They're going to take a lot of benefits away. A lot of people going to die from that, you know. When the time comes that they crack these lights off, right? When they turn these lights off, a lot of people going to die, you know, in these hospitals, man. Because once they hit these EMPs smack this place, these cyber attacks come in, that's it. People that's in the hospitals going to die off, man. All the medicine's going to spoil because they keep them in freezers. You know, a lot of these people hooked up to machines, all right? They're going to end up dying, you see? So it's all orchestrated in by the elites, you know, to have this place fail. You know, so a lot of medical attention is not going to be there. Okay, a lot of people, you know, through Medicaid, you know, receive benefits and receive, products, you know, to help children and to help, you know, themselves. You know, they're sending you, you know, medications. All that shit gonna be taken away, man. And what are you gonna do in that day? You see, this is why you need Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, man, because see, the medical field was created to keep you making money for them. You see, they are the ones that actually make you sick, because if they make you sick, then there's plenty of dollars to be made. You see, that's why they don't want you to know about herbs. That's why they don't want you to know that Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, right? He is the one that is the true healer of all things. The scriptures tell you that, all right? Scriptures tell you in let me grab that real quick. All right. I ain't going through it through my phone because I'm holding it where it's at. But when you go to Ecclesiasticus, matter of fact, before I go to Ecclesiasticus, let's do Psalms. All right, 103. One second. This is Psalms 103. This is Psalms 103 and 4. And it says 3. I'll take it from 2. Bless the Lord Yahweh, O my soul, and forget not all his benefits, who forgiveth all thine iniquities, who healeth all thy diseases. You see? So true healing comes of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. Because when you're sick, that's it. That ain't nothing but demons, man. That's why this medical warfare ain't nothing but straight demons, man. Because the word that's basically goes back to pharmakia. All right. Everything, this is how you get the word pharmacy, pharmaceutical. All right, everything is pharmakia, and pharmakia is the mixing of potions. Is basically witchcraft and sorceries. So when they bring these witchcrafts and sorceries upon you, and you're sick because you really have demons on you. That's what the infirmities be, man. It be nothing but demons. So the only thing that can heal you is Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, prayer. You know, so they don't want you to know that. Just grab Ecclesiasticus 38. All right, and it says, honor a physician with the honor due unto him for the uses which you may have of him. For of the Lord Yahweh Shai has, for the Lord Yahweh Shai has created him. Okay. Let me grab it down at where I wanted it. Give me 1 second. Down at 9, it says, my son, in thy sickness be not negligent, but pray unto the Lord Yahweh Shai, and he will make thee whole. Leave off from sin, and order thine hands aright, and cleanse thy heart from all wickedness. You see? So it comes from Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, the healing. All right. Let me see. Go to verse 2. It says, for of the Most High cometh healing, and he shall receive honor of the king. The skill of the physician shall lift up his head, and in the sight of great men he shall be in admiration. The Lord Yahweh Shai has created medications out of the earth, and he that is wise will not abhor him. You see, so for of the Most High cometh healing, man. Okay. Even when these, doctors perform something, or when these herbs perform something for you, man, it's of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, man. You see?
Right, like it was your choice 5 years ago with the jab. Remember that? This is how they institute the new normal. This is how they end the family unit. This is how they force mandatory vaccinations. This is how they introduce universal basic income. This is how they introduce microchipping, a global credit system. This is what they want. This is what they're building right now. And they're coming right out and they're telling you thousands of 5G towers, the end of private transportation, the end of private farms, businesses run by the government, travel restrictions, restricted land use. You think this is far-fetched? Take a look around and wake the fuck up. They already tested it in 2020 with the lockdowns, restrictions, fear campaigns, government-run media, and most people complied without a second thought. That was the dress rehearsal. That was the warm-up round. 2030 is their final act. But here's the thing: it was
this ain't gonna take to no 2030, man. This shit gonna take off in 2026, man. All right, because the Lord is about to literally, he's speeding up the process for the Lord, for the elect's sake, man. The Lord is shortening the days, man. If we got to be here to 2030, man, that would be fucking insane, man. You see, you look how bad shit is now. All right, imagine us being here to 2030. I'm not saying it can't happen, because we're in the Lord's time. All right, if the Lord want to keep us here 4 more years, man, and make us suffer 4 more years, he will do that. All right, but I just can't see it through the spirit, because the Lord is speeding the process up for the elect's sake, man. If we stay here any longer, man, it's just going to be, as the scripture said, no flesh shall be saved, So, this thing is going to pop off, all right? And once it's popped off and set in place, all right, it's going to be like that. It's going to be something quick, okay? The Lord going to allow Esau to do what he do, put his little agenda into play, all right? And it's only going to last so long, And then once they make this thing mandatory, right, when they have this RFID and it's made mandatory, once he got about 80%, 85% of the world, C-hipped, that's it. This shit gonna end real quick. Why? Because then the Lord has to intervene and lift up that standard, and he has to save his elect. Okay? Because that's prophecy, you see? So this thing is moving quick, man.
in 2015, but they missed their deadline. So they pushed it back to 2020, and they missed that too. And what does that tell you? See, it tells me that we're much more fierce of an opponent than they ever realized. They didn't account for level-headed, logical thinking, like-minded brothers like us to dig our heels in and say, fuck you, but it's not good enough. And their efforts will only get more aggressive, more pronounced, and more relentlessly egregious towards dissenters. And here's the truth. If we don't fight back now, if we don't raise our voices, if we don't refuse to comply, if we don't build strength and unity in our own communities, then when the curtain drops, it's over.
You see, and at the end of the day, all that shit is bullshit, because none of that, you know, as the scriptures say, though they join hand in hand. Let me grab that. All right. And at the end of the day, that fuck you, you know, you saying fuck you to them ain't gonna matter, because you know, it's all prophecy that these things are happening. You see? This is Proverbs 11:21. It says, though hand join in hand, the wicked shall not be unpunished, but the seed of the righteous shall be delivered. You see, so you could join all you want, all right? Hand to hand, come together and try to go against the government, all right? The Lord's still going to destroy this place. The Lord's still going to destroy the wickedness of this place, all right? And he going to only deliver the righteous, which is his elect, consisted of you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, because that's who salvation is for. It ain't for none of these nations other than the nation of Israel. And of the nation of Israel, those that are chosen from the foundation of the earth to be saved, you see, that are predestinated, written in the book of life since the beginning. Okay, so let me grab another one more video and then I'll wrap it up. All right, I think this one's a short one. All right.
Happening in 2026. 2026, the summer 2026 is what? One, which means new beginnings, right? True. So what's happening in 2026? 2026, the summer 2026 is what? One, which means new beginnings, right? So at the end of January, beginning of February.
It says in 2026, the government will shut back down. And hey, as a matter of fact, it is going to shut down, because all this shit that they, all these, when it was coming out with the SNAP benefits and all that extra shit, and we just came from a shutdown that was what, 40 something days, a little bit more than that maybe. All right, and then they reopened up the government stuff. It was only supposed to be opened back up till January 1st. Now they're saying it's up to January 31st. But see, it was only supposed to be open for a little bit of time. And then when we came into 2026, they were speaking that it was going to shut down again. So they already been telling you that they were going to shut it down again. You see, that's how they keep the people in a frenzy, man. You know, so it's going to shut down again. All right. It says digital IDs and digital currency will be made mandatory. Our police will be military. There will be no jobs or public schools. All right. 2026, one world order is here. Okay.
Want to be another government shutdown. Most all the jobs will be absolutely, they will not, which means new. True. So what's happening in 2026? 2026, the summer 2026 is what? One, which means new beginnings, right? So at the end of January, beginning of February, there's going to be another government shutdown. Most all the jobs will be absolutely, there will not be any jobs. 80% of the workforce will be replaced by artificial intelligence, right? Schools will eventually not open up next year, starting in August. The funding, there will not be any funding for schools. There will not be any funding for federal workers. That includes people who work for TSA, the government, any federal job will stop the pay. Y'all thought this shutdown was bad this year. Wait till the year of the new beginnings, right? There will be war. There will be a war that pop up. There will be FEMA camps, right?
Yeah, see, everything that she's saying is all prophecy, man. World War III is among us. We're already in it, you know. The reason it hasn't broke out in all hell is because the MOTB, the RFID, has to be made mandatory first, according to prophecy. All right, the Lord deals in chronological order. That's why the scriptures say there shall be wars and rumors of wars, but the end is not yet. You see why? Because the prophecy of the MOTB being made mandatory has to come first in order for them missiles to fly. You see, to destroy America. Jacob's trouble has to happen also. You see, so you know what she's saying. She on point. FEMA camps already here. They've been here. We've been warning you of FEMA camps. You know, the Lord be giving you warnings with all these ICE agents snatching people up and taking them to FEMA camps. That's going to increase. 2026, I did an article, I did a video on that about 3 weeks ago, 2.5 weeks ago, where it was talking about how in 2026, they're going to amp it up even more with these ice cream agents, man. You see? So it's going to get even, you thought it was bad when it was snatching people up before. It's about to get even worse. As the scriptures say, they shall be like madmen sparing none, you know?
There will, because it's already happening. People are not talking about this, but it's already happening in Memphis. They're literally there with fucking tanks, riding around in tanks, right? And the military police are pulling over regular civilians that are just driving around. So this is already happening in Memphis. We know what Memphis was in Egypt, right? It's the capital of Egypt. So of course they're going to attack Memphis first. Memphis is a very special city, right? Because y'all know this is the true ancient Egypt, and the Mississippi River is really the Nile River, right? But that's the whole story for a whole nother day. But
and that's crazy that you're saying that. The scriptures say that we are spiritually Sodom and Egypt, you see? So it is some type of truth of why they started in Memphis and things like that, man, because this is all spiritually Sodom and Egypt, man. All right. So they had to start somewhere. All right. And that ain't just in Memphis, man. You go to all these major cities, they are now invaded with many military tanks and military presence. Okay. And why are they put in these, you know, you had Donald Trump that was ordering all these different military, you know, these military men were being set in these different states for a reason, because all hell's about to break loose. So they're going to have, you know, military pretty much take over. OK, because police ain't going to want to fucking do that shit. All right. Police is going to be there for a little bit, but police is going to be taken out the way also, because it's going to be all lawlessness out here. There ain't going to be no 911s. There ain't going to be you trying to call police to come help. All right. If anything, they're going to take these police officers, and a lot of them going to go back to their homes because they're not going to be able to deal with it, or they're going to end up joining the military and helping these damn fools out anyway. You see, because remember, even the military, all right, they want to have a one world military. Okay. So
the police everywhere, they're going to have tanks. I already just seen some tanks where I'm at, right? I literally been seeing them bring in tanks everywhere, because I've been all around this country. And one thing I peeped on the trains, they've been moving in tanks in America since the pandemic. See, that's why they had a lot of people in the house during the pandemic. I was outside. While y'all was in the house, I was outside in nature, meditating. I was at the beach.
And that's facts, though, because I was the same way when this whole pandemic was going down and shit. I was outside also. I ain't staying in my house. I was constantly watching what was going on, you know, around us, around my way. And yeah, you seeing a lot of military action going on. You saw a lot of tanks being brought in, you know, to these around where I live. You know, there's a lot of bases. You got, you know, army bases, naval bases. You got military bases, period. You know, and you saw a lot of big planes bringing in, you know, them big cargo planes, man. All right, the big cargo planes that are able to bring, you know, tanks in them. You know, you have in certain, you know, states, you have people recording trains bringing in tanks. All right. Why are they doing this? Why? Because they are preparing for what's to come. All right. They have a certain agenda. And see, the army not going to tell you, because they have to keep their mouth shut. All right. It's all classified according to them. You know, so they're not going to tell you any of these things, man, of what's going on, because even them themselves don't know what the fuck is going on, because they're all taking orders from somebody, you know. So they're made to keep their mouth shut and be that little good Samaritan, be that little good boy that just says, aye, aye, Captain. Yes, sir. You know, so they're not going to open their mouths because it's classified to the world, you know. It says siege of Jerusalem. Yeah, that's right. That's exactly what's about to come to this place, man. The siege of Jerusalem. All right. Just like when you read in the ancient times, in the different captivities, you know, Jerusalem was always in a siege. You know, our people was always in some type of siege. Okay, and it's history repeating itself. Okay, that great siege is gonna come upon us again. All right. As a matter of fact, now that you say that,
right, I was going.
All right.
To eat because it was empty and nobody was there.
This is Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter. All right. Um, give me 1 second. This is 48. Actually, no, the point I want is, yeah, this is 52. It says, and he shall besiege thee in all thy gates until thy high and fenced walls come down, wherein thou hast trusted throughout all thy land, and he shall besiege thee in all thy gates throughout all thy land, which the Lord Yahweh thy power has given thee. You see, one of the attacks that, you know, we will have, I mean, one of the curses we will have, that when wherever we were at, we were always, you know, going to be attacked. All right. In NLT, it says they will attack, because this is speaking about how a nation. All right. If you go up a little bit, let me grab it a little bit up. Right. So you have an understanding. From 47, it says, because thou serve not the Lord Yahweh thy power with joyfulness and with gladness of heart for the abundance of all things, therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Lord Yahweh shall send against thee. Yeah, and see, we're serving our enemies, man. All right. We're under captivity against our enemies because we wanted to sacrifice unto devils, man. So the Lord puts us into the hands of our enemies, according to Baruch, the 4th chapter, right? It says, which the Lord Yahweh shall send against thee in hunger and in thirst and in nakedness and the want of all things. And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he has destroyed thee. The Lord Yahweh shall bring a nation against thee from far, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand. You see, and that's why we're here in captivity in America. You see. Because when we speak in speaking American and speaking English here, that's not a tongue that we were always speaking. We were Hebrew, man. We were always meant to be speaking Hebrew. Okay, but look, we learned the customs of these different nations, all right, and we learned the custom of speaking this different language that's not even ours, English. Okay, and the swift as the eagle flieth is going to Esau, man. Here in America, is not the bald eagle, all right, the mascot of America. You see, it says the nation of fierce countenance, which shall not regard the person of the old, nor show favor to the young. And he shall eat the fruit of thy cattle and the fruit of thy land until thou be destroyed, which also shall not leave thee either corn, wine, or oil, or the increase of thy kind, or flocks of thy sheep, until he hath destroyed thee. Yeah. And what did Esau do when he came here and took away the land from Gad, you know, Reuben? Okay. He took everything away from them, man. You see? So we didn't have these things, right? It says, and he shall besiege thee in all thy gates until the high and fenced walls come down, wherein thou hast trusted throughout all thy land. And he shall besiege thee in all thy gates throughout all thy land, which the Lord Yahweh thy power has given thee. So when you go to NLT, it says they will attack your cities until all the fortified walls in your land, the walls you trusted to protect you, are knocked down. They will attack all the towns in the land, and the Lord Yahweh, your power, which your Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shah, your power has given you. You see, so to besiege is a siege. A siege is what, man? Let's grab that. All right. Definition of siege. All right, a military operation in which your enemy forces surround a town or a building, cutting off essential supplies, and with the aim of compelling the surrender of those inside. You see, so that's what's coming, man. that when they talk about lockdowns, you know, when they talk about these military groups, you know, running and operating in your streets, all right, that's going into a siege, man. That lockdowns is siege. Okay. So, and it says a prolonged period of misfortune. Yeah, it's going to be a very prolonged, unfortunate situation, man. All right. It says, and thou shalt eat the fruit of thine own body, the flesh of thy sons and of thy daughters, which the Lord Yahweh, thy power, has given thee in the siege, and in the straitness wherewith thine enemies shall distress thee. Yeah, why? Because they're going to take away all your benefits. When they lock this shit down, that's what they've been doing little by little. Cutting off your water supply, cutting off your food supply, you know. And the scriptures talk about that. Isaiah 3:1. All right. Let's grab that real quick. Isaiah 3:1. It says, for behold, the Lord Yahweh, the Lord of hosts, does take away from Jerusalem and from Judah, all right, northern kingdom and southern kingdom, the stay of the staff, the whole stay of bread, and the whole stay of water. Okay. NLT says the Lord Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, right, Lord of heaven's armies, will take away from Jerusalem and Judah everything they depend on, every bit of bread and every drop of water, you see? And then once it's taken away, see, that's when they have total control. And that's why you're going to go to your oppressor for the want of all things, and nakedness and hunger, all right, and thirst, you see? And that's how they're able to basically get you to submit. Okay, because when people get hangry, all right, people get thirsty, all right, they're gonna do whatever the hell what you tell them to do. See, this is why we're not gonna want none of those things, because the Lord's gonna feed us, man. Okay. So, Salakia, let's go back to that video and finish it up.
So what's happening in 2026? 2026. Meditating. I was at the beach, right? I was going out to eat because it was empty and nobody was there. Because I wasn't scared of no motherfucking COVID. I didn't try to get no vaccine. I was swabbing my motherfucking mouth too. Swabbing my nose either and let them tickle my brain. I think that shit did something to people too. You didn't get the vaccine. That swab they were trying to do something to you.
Yeah, that swab with that. I did a video on that. The swab, what they were putting is, if they didn't get you with the yo jabba jabba, they were getting you with the swabs, because the swabs themselves had technology in it, you know, going into that nano, all right, tech. Okay. As a matter of fact, I remember I was doing a side job for somebody working in this warehouse, because at the time I needed a little bit of extra cash. And one of the things that I had to pack up and deliver to places was a bunch of C19 tests. And on the packages of those tests, it said technology. It said warning. Basically this swab has technology in it, and it was just a fucking swab. But what you didn't realize is that when you put that in your nose and you swab yourself, or you swab it in your mouth, your pores are open, man. If you put it in your mouth, it'll go into your bloodstream. If you put it in your nose, your pores around your nose, that is going to go into your bloodstream. So one way or another, that was going to get your ass, you see? And that's why we're not ignorant to Satan's devices, man. You know? So that was definitely doing something to people too. It was actually, matter of fact, they were actually putting the C19 on the swab. So when you will swab yourself, next thing you know, you got it. And your ass didn't even fucking need it, man.
And that shit was too long to go up, you know, so that's a whole nother story for a whole nother day, right? But so what's going to happen in 23? No jobs. School system's going to shut down. Federal workers will not be getting paid for a long time. And I predict that the government will never open back up, and then that's when there'll be war. And that's when they're going to move in the federal workers. And then that's when it's going to, they're already ushering in the one world order, right? Which is the digital IDs. The digital IDs will be mandatory next year, right? The digital currency will be mandatory next year. I also predict, because it's already happening, a lot of stores are going cashless.
And there's nothing that she predicted, man, because it's all written. It's all prophecy of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. The men of the Lord been predicting these things 5 years ago. you go back to our videos 5 years ago, man, we were talking about this in the pandemic. We was telling you that this shit was going to happen already. You know, we was telling you that a second lockdown was going to come, you know, that they were going to usher in this technology, this new world, you know. So it's already been predicted, and it's been predicted by Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai first. You see, the Lord just using us as vessels to deliver the message. You see, so it ain't no prediction that she coming up with, you know. She ain't no prophetess or nothing. She's speaking some truth, but she ain't nobody, man. She ain't no prophetess. She's just somebody that's woke. You know, if anything, she probably been hearing the men of the Lord speak on it. So she's able to, you know, bring a little truth out, you see, because a woman is deprived from wisdom at the end of the day. So none of these women got fucking wisdom, you know. But, you know, if they do, you know, they heard something from the men of the Lord. That's truth.
Right. So it's going to be to the point where everybody's going to be like, your money doesn't have, we don't want your paper dollar. We're only fucking with the crypto, the digital currency, right? And mind you not, our money hasn't been backed by anything in a long time. So of course they can just go into the
And it hasn't. And now they're trying to say that, see, this is why gold is going up. This is why silver is going up. It's especially silver right now is at a fucking, silver is at like $80 for an ounce of silver. All right, more than it's ever been. All right, which that's just crazy because I had a whole bunch of silver coins, man, that I have invested in, and I had to use them not so long ago because, you know, times was extra rough, so I had to make some extra cash, and you know, at that time they were up maybe 45, you know, around there. But now, look, so I regret using all that shit because I would have been making hella bread with them now. You know, but hey, Lord willing, if I get a little cash, you know, I'll try to grab me some more because eventually that's just going to shoot up even higher. All right, there's going to be a point when, see, when the dollar collapse, that silver going to shoot up to about $200-300, man. So it's going to be $300, $200 for an ounce of silver. Right now, you can get it for 80, you know, which is kind of on the high end. You know, when I was buying those pieces of silver, they were at $25-30, you know, for an ounce of silver. All right, but you know, I would advise people to try to get them right now because it's going to go up more and more. They're going to shoot up higher and higher. And if you have ounces of gold are worth 4,500 right now almost. I believe it's around that. You know, definitely over 4,000. You know, for an ounce of gold. You know, so it's good to invest in those things. All right, but most of all, investing in Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai.
Having numbers in them. It's magic money. All this is a fucking illusion. That's why it's imperative for us to disconnect this from this system, right? The true chosen ones, disconnect from this system and create our own. But the more we do the work,
there ain't nothing to disconnect to make your own, man. You have to just disconnect from this world, period, and connect with Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, your power, man. Because you disconnected and trying to make your own system is not going to work, man. This place is not your rest, as the scriptures say, Micah 2:10. Arise and depart, for this is not your rest. Okay, this place it will destroy you. It will destroy you with a sword destruction. Everything here is polluted. Okay, everything here is made to bring you down. You know, so there is no disconnecting and trying to connect somewhere else with it, man. The only place you should be connecting is with Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. You see.
The more we heal, the more the frequency of the planet will rise and everything will automatically fall in alignment.
Yeah, now she's talking that.
So what's
she's talking that chakra level bullshit, you know. But she did speak a whole lot of truth, you know. So, you know, that's pretty much the point, man, on news and prophecy, man. This is the times that we're in. This is the times that we're coming into. All right. That's right. This is Luke 21:20. All right. And it says, and ye shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies, then know that the desolation thereof is nigh. Exactly. You see, you're going to see all these military troops, you know, coming upon us, man. That is already giving you the warning that this place is done for. Okay. I can't get to this other, my phone tripping right now. I see that you have something above that, I think. Yeah, there you go. He said that 6-armed elephant bullshit. Damn, y'all can't scroll down the comments. Lucky, I'm trying to scroll, but I can't. My shit's like frozen right now. But It is what it is. Damn, what the fuck? Phones is tripping, man. That's another thing. Esau making everything trip out, man. Look, the Lord hit the chime on that. Yeah, it's not letting me scroll or nothing. All right. But hey, y'all get the point, you know. So hey, Lord willing that the lesson was edifying. That was basically your breakfast oil. You know, it was a little late on the breakfast, but that's because my ass been up all damn morning and all night, you know. So, you know, it was breakfast for me, you know. But hey, Lord willing, you were edified. So with that being said, Barakatah Yahawah, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, call Halor and La Yahawah, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Bachakodash. Double honors to the elders and apostles, the great millstone, and the like-minded brothers. Blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect that scattered abroad, the Akim and the Aquat that was listening in. Yahweh Baratazah, Lord willing that the lesson was edifying. To the next one, Shalom. Keep fighting the good fight of faith and doing as good soldiers of Yahweh Shai. As always, stay prayed up. All right, and pray that this place go down, all right, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. A Bible ball soon, and to Water Malak for the precepts, and tuning in to Water Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai Barakatah.